I'll see.
All right, so let's do, what is this? Try three, take four, take five. Guys, life is not perfect. Perfection doesn't exist, and things always, adversities always show up in life. And how the ability to handle adversity would be how we, how far can we go from a regulated. Remind me how my closing went. Yes, totally, Shannon. We'll get there in a minute. It's how you're able to hold adversity and overcome the things that the universe just keeps putting in your way. Do you really want this? Let's see. Do you really want this? So, anyways, Shannon, come off mute, my love. And before you met us, before you met the mastermind, and you learned that we are just a bunch of people trying to do our best to serve. Somebody served us in our path, therefore, we are here to bring that reciprocity back into the universe and to pass it along. Before we go into the decision why, I want to ask you what made you decide? I know you were exhausted, I know you were looking for something else, but what made you, from so many years in your career, to say, enough is enough? I'm not doing this any longer. I need another way, or I want a different way.
Yeah. And I think I mentioned before I was at this job last year and I've been a nurse for so long and I was contemplating going back to school and getting a PhD and things like that. And then I started to feel like I was killing myself and I wasn't getting appreciated. I was being told that I wasn't doing a good job. So to me, it was like, okay, I think I've done enough of this life. I've had enough. My soul is not for sale any longer. I couldn't do it anymore. And so I don't know, something inside of me was like, I know there's people out there that are doing it way smarter. And I know I'm smart. Like, how do I make money work for me? And how do I not work as hard? And I just knew there was millionaires out there, wealthy people, and they're doing it completely different. So I told myself, if I figure out what they're doing, or at least a little bit of what they're doing, then maybe my life would feel differently. So I think that's where it started to lead me. And then I had a conversation with my husband about our future and retirement and things like that. And he said, you really should think about what our retirement looks like. And I said, well, I don't think like that. I think day to day. And I live by the seat of my pants and I want to do the things I want to do when I want to do. And he said, that's irresponsible. So I said to myself, okay, you might have some truth to that. Maybe I need some financial intelligence. And no one taught me financial intelligence. And it's not like something you go looking for. You just pay your bills, you go to work and you do the day to day, you become a parent, hopefully, but you don't stop to think, is there more creative ways of making money and moving money around so that way you build a fortune? And so I started reading books. I started reading about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read Psychology of Money. And I realized that my whole idea of money and wealth and financial intelligence, it had more to do with my mind and how I felt about money, how I took care of it, how I managed it, how it was placed in my purse, like just little things. And so I started doing more of that realization that it was more about my mindset than anything. And then I think that's when I joined the group and I expected to hear a lot about real estate, but a lot of it is mindset. And so it's like, oh my gosh, I really have a lot more work to do than just learning about financial intelligence. I need to work on my mind.
Who here in the audience totally understands and feels exactly what Shannon is saying? Put a one in the chat if you're like, yes, I've been there. I know, yes, this feels like it feels deep in my heart and 100%. Because this is a deeper truth that not many people truly understand until they make the decision that I want more. I want more, whatever, fill in the blanks of whatever it is that you want more. To have that desire of understanding your life, but wanting more from it, being grateful for what you have, extremely grateful for what you have, yet being fearlessly ambitious of what else that it is that the life could bring you. And I will never forget this day when Shannon reached out and she's, I have this deal and I need to analyze it and I need some support nurses. I'm like, yeah, great. Let's get on a call. Let's do it. And 3 minutes into the call, I'm like, this is not about the deal. Has nothing to do with the deal. Yes, the deal's great. The math is great. All this is great. But this is more about what's the most important real estate that we have, which is the real estate that we have between our head, the mindset, and the emotional state. I could hand you a deal on a silver platter right now, but if your mindset, it's not in alignment with taking the action to follow through with that deal, I'm sorry to tell you guys, but 99% of the people, that is where they lack that success rate, not because they don't have education, not because they don't know what they're doing, but because your nervous system and your mindset is not in alignment with putting yourself in the uncomfortable zone to change and get curious with what's currently sitting underneath I call it inside of the closet. We have this closet that we keep shoving things in there, and we don't want to sometimes, either we don't know it exists or we don't want to look at it because it's easier to get busy and just keep taking the action. But eventually that closet door is just going to burst open and say, "Look." So that was the moment I was Shannon. I got on a call and I'm like, Shannon, this is way more about the mind than it is about the deal. Let's work on the first thing first, and then we work on the second thing. Before we go into the actual accomplishments and the physical reality of what has the journey of being through our mastermind and part of our community, but what has transpired in your actual life, in your physical, your spiritual, your mind, before the finances ever changed?
I think I had to come to the realization that there's a few things. One of them is, and this could just be me as a woman and as a mom, but I always felt like I was in fight or flight all the time. And a lot of that comes from childhood and everything like that. But you get so busy day to day that you don't have time to breathe. And you want to do everything all yourself, and you wanted to do the best to your ability. And it wasn't until some people started asking questions that it made me realize, wow, I really don't know what kind of life I would actually like to have, or that I actually see for myself, because I haven't had a moment to breathe. I've just been so busy. And it made me kind of sad, to be honest. And so then it was about, okay, noticing the things that I was thinking about and that I've been believing, and the patterns that I've picked up and how they transpired into my behavior. It was just a lot of, I don't know, recognition that has been occurring. And like you said, if you think about things in a certain way, that's exactly what you're going to create. So if you focus on your bank account, you focus on the bills, you focus on the stress, it's exactly what you're going to surround yourself with. And so for me, I have been really working on and trying to focus on my nervous system and my mindset, because I feel like that's just going to keep going and I have to maintain that now. But I don't think that money flowing or real estate or wealth or anything like that is going to be the way I want it to be until I start noticing the things that I need to work on. And that comes from within myself, not externally, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense to me. And I'm going to add a little bit to that. It's where intention goes, energy flow. So whatever it is that you're thinking, and yes, you came here for real estate investing and wealth building, but this is the fundamental of wealth building and anything in your life. It's whatever you think, whatever that main thought that just keeps on knocking on your door at 2 o'clock in the morning, waking you up, making you anxious, making you like, and we sometimes think that those thoughts were so, we don't want that. So we're like, no, I don't want this, I don't want this. But we're putting so much emphasis on what we don't want that by the law of the universe, where your energy goes, where attention goes, your energy flows. So if we're looking at our bank account, oh my God, I can't pay my bills, or I don't have enough money, or you're looking at it from a lack of, or we're looking at, you want to create and make a different decision. That decision might take an investment. We're looking at that investment from the perspective of lack, which is I don't have the money, or this is fearful to invest in myself. We are attracting more of that lack. We cannot attract the opposite of what we are. So we have to become wealth. We have to become the energy of money in order for us to attract the energy of money, attract the wealth that comes from us, from within us, because there's an abundance of wealth outside. I like to explain it this way. I want you to think about a tree. A tree, did you know that a tree grows in two directions at the same time? The tree grows deep into the dirt while it grows high into the sky. But before the tree, you ever see a trunk, that seed that was in the darkness of the earth, it had to go through adversity. It had to move things and push things and force itself through the earth, through the dirt, nurture itself and sit in that wet darkness of the earth until it grew enough nourishment, enough strength, enough possibility to break through the earth and then start growing up and growing down at the same time. The other thing is, a tree does not look at, I'm not going to grow this big because I'm going to cover the house. So I'm not going to only grow this big because my next door neighbor thinks or believes this, or that I believe that I should only be 3 feet tall, so I'm only going to go 3 feet tall. No, a tree just grows. And that's exactly the same way as that we are created as humans. Before we grow our trunk, before we come and flourish, before we get to see the fruit of the tree of our labor, we have to stay in that darker, wetter part of the contraction and moving through adversities, looking at what it is that we believe, what it is that our thought process is, so we could start growing simultaneously, deep rooted into the earth, which is grounding, knowing who you are, and limitless up in the trunk and the fruits, which is your potential of your abundance and your wealth that you're bringing into the physical reality. So before you met us and before you joined the mastermind, Shannon, how was this belief that we just talked about? What was your way of seeing money, wealth, opportunities?
It's like a lot of people. I grew up hearing, we can't afford that. That's too expensive. No, we don't have the money. Money doesn't grow on trees. So and I didn't realize it, that all of those things that I were put into my brain made me feel like there wasn't enough money out there. And that I had to not only do that, think that, but it made me work so hard to go after the things I wanted, but it wasn't the things that were going to make me happy. So I ended up, yes, having a good job, making good money, but I was completely 100% miserable. And so I thought if I had money, I'd be happy. And that's how my brain worked, with all of that being told to me growing up. If I just have the money, then I'll be okay. If I have lots of money, I won't be afraid. But I ended up having fear my whole life, going after the things I truly wanted and thought that I could do. And so it's interesting because I had a conversation with both of my parents and I said, oh, you told me all these things and it made me feel like I couldn't be a business owner. I couldn't go after things that would make me rich. It made me feel like it's impossible. And so they both had a different answer. And my mom, she said, there's tons of money out there, go after it. And I said, why didn't you say that to me growing up? I would have had a completely different mindset. And then my father, he said, that's how we were taught. And that's how my grandfather was taught. And so it gets passed down from generation to generation. And he said, well, I thought if I just got a good job, got married, had kids, tried to buy a house, then everything would be okay. But the American dream isn't that anymore. It's definitely different. So yeah, everything we're told.
How is it different now that you borrowed our belief before you created your own?
It made me feel like a whole new world of possibilities was available. And that it's almost like the world that I believed, it's slowly fading away. And so it makes me feel like, okay, there is money everywhere and people work together. And I think it's more than money, but I see people who are very successful. And the one thing that they have in common is that they want to serve, that they want to help people around them. And so then for whatever reason, the money just comes after.
Always. The
So I really like that.
The flow of abundance. I'm going to put it this way. What kind of relationship would you have with your friend, with your husband, with your wife, if you're not putting energy into serving them? You're not putting energy into getting to know them. You're not putting energy into dating them. You're not putting energy into taking care of their needs so they could take care of your needs. What kind of relationship would you? I put a 1 in the chat if you believe that would be a terrible marriage. Just call it a marriage or partnership or friendship. Just give me a 1 in the chat if you agree that this would be a absolute terrible relationship if that's how we operate. Yes, of course. But many times we do the same thing with money. We want more money. I was the one that's exactly similar situation to yours, Shannon. I come from very scarce family. And I heard the same exact stories as money doesn't grow on trees. My father took it way. I need new shoes. Cut your toes because we don't have money to buy new shoes. So we just cut your toenails and you don't need new shoes. And those are the extremes. And reality is a lot of us come from that because a lot of us were raised in families that had very scarce, limited beliefs. And a lot of people are still surrounded by those individuals around them. So my question to you guys that are here with us today is, I'm inviting you to look around your circle and do a little deep dive in what stories are you hearing, not only from yourself, but what stories are you hearing from your mom, from your dad, from your sister, from your friend, from the people that you spend the most amount of time with? Because the true reality is we are only a reflection of the people that we surround ourselves with. So if we constantly hear the story, whichever story it is, that is what we're going to believe on the subconscious level, and that is exactly what we become. When we change the belief, when we change the story, now we change the actions that we start taking. And the actions, which the action is the serving, you cannot expect money to come in people say money doesn't grow on trees. I say money does grow on the trees that I built, because I build trees in my backyard and all over the nation that they grow money, but I had to serve the tree. I had to build the tree. I had to create and put the seed and nurture and water my properties and water my businesses and serve my people that work for me, for those businesses to serve me back. So when we're looking at money, it's the same exact way. You have to go out there and serve people in order for you to receive the mutual exchange of the energetic flow. I'm giving you something in return, whether it is from you, James, or some other random person that I walk onto the street yesterday, one way or another, that energy will come back to you. It's the law of the universe. What goes out comes right back in. What's within, it's so without. So now that you changed the mindset, you joined our mastermind, you started borrowing our belief. And the reason why I call it borrowing belief, it's because a lot of times, until we create our own belief, when we go from a certain mindset to a completely new different paradigm, there's going to be doubt. There's going to be this, where do I fit? Now I'm 1 foot in this belief and I'm 1 foot in this belief. And now I find myself in the gap between two realities. And it's extremely important that you have the people around you to borrow their belief. For our students, for Shannon, for everybody that it's within our mastermind, at first you borrow my belief in you. I truly believe from the bottom of my heart that you can create anything. And when I mean anything, it's anything you ever desire and are willing to take the action for. That is my belief for you. And until you have that belief within yourself, you show up every single day and I'm like, Shannon, you got this. Just push through. You got this. Keep taking the action. And through borrowing our belief, what is your belief system right now, Shannon?
Oh, my belief system is completely different. I'm working on raising capital and really perfecting that skill because I know there are people out there that want to invest. And it's just continuing to learn on how to do that. And I feel if I can do that, because I know I can analyze properties, I know I can find properties, I know I can build relationships, I can build teams. And so I feel like if I can really perfect raising capital, I feel like anything is possible that I want. And so I've been, working on that a lot.
So it's not a if I can, it's a when.
Still have to work on my language.
If I can, it's subconsciously saying that I do not believe that I can. The definition of if I can translates to I currently do but not believe that I can. So when I can, then I will. So we're moving from the self, current reality right now in the moment, to if I can, which is in the future, then I will, which is further out in the future. And then when I will, then I will receive, which is fill in the blanks how far away that is. So it's when right now I believe, Shannon, we believe that you have all the tools and the knowledge and the ability to raise all the private money. And it's not only for Shannon, this is for every single one of you guys here on the call. You can do whatever it is that you desire to. Oh, do you want to share what your life has looked like in the past 8 months being, now we talked about the belief, we talked about how your life truly has changed on a physical, mind, body, spirit level. How has your wealth and your new business of real estate investing transformed? You still have your job, right?
I still have my job and it's definitely not the job that I desire, but I am trying to think of it as a season. I know you like to call it a season. What am I learning during this season? And I look at the benefits. So I want to say in the last 8 months, I've done so much more around real estate and financial intelligence and just looking at things differently, having more conversations with other people around me who had the same mindset as me, just kill yourself, pay your bills, and contribute to your 401k. So I feel grateful in that sense because I've learned so much more in the last 8 months regarding that than I have in my whole life regarding money or investments or even real estate, building relationships. I've always loved doing, but I feel like I've been doing it more on a personal level. I'm just so grateful for this group. Whenever I have a question, I always bring it to the group and you guys are more than happy to go over it and talk about it and give me feedback, which I love. I've even started helping my husband with his credit and I just love that. I like helping other people that had the same mindset as me.
That's so beautiful. We went from 8 months ago, your husband putting a mirror at you and pointing out that we at that point were financially irresponsible and making financially irresponsible decisions. So fast forwarding 8 months later, hubby, I know a lot of things. Let me assist you with some things. That's an incredible turnaround. But let's talk about, I know how many, well, I'm not going to ask how many because there's a lot of deals that you have gone on the contract, that you've analyzed, that you've put a lot of offers into it. But before you decided, I know you mentioned you met somebody and told you they had 6 properties, and you're like, how in the world do you have 6 properties? Fast forward, Shannon, today, 8 months later, how many properties do you actually have in land or other things that you have done within the past 8 months?
So I did have one piece of land in California before I started because I thought that was something I was going to build a house on and retire or go for a vacation or do Airbnb. So I still have that. I've tried to sell it though, because yeah, but I'm keeping that. And then I did go under contract and close on my first property last month for a fix and flip, but then it ended up being more of a buy and hold. So we're going to look at that and see what happens with the market. But that's currently under rehab. It's a full rehab. I'm under contract for my first commercial property right now. So I am just waiting for my inspection report to come back that was done today because I really want to know if there's anything wrong with it. And then I did purchase another piece of land in Arkansas through one of James's fantastic friends and partners.
So 8 months fast forward, we are sitting at 6 doors and 2 lands. How does that feel?
It feels like it's not real. I feel like it's happening, but maybe I'm just not pausing enough to really enjoy it.
I'm going to bring out a little bit the land that you had purchased before the mastermind, and you said, we're not even going to go in that. How have you seen the difference? You don't need to tell us any of the information, but what did you observe the difference being purchasing land, purchasing real estate, doing anything without support versus having the proper support and guidance before you fully pull the plug and close on the deal?
Oh, I can't describe how that felt because if I didn't have the support, I probably wouldn't have bought it. I probably would have overanalyzed it to death if in fact I even knew how to analyze it, and I probably would have given up and quit and just went about my life.
Yeah. And that's so important because that's not only you. That is human behavior, human psychology. We are wired to live in survival. We are wired the minute something gets really hard and we don't have our tribe that says, I got you, keep moving, keep going, I'm gonna push you from the back or that side until we get there. Our human behavior is to say, I gave it a try, it didn't work, so let me figure something else out. How many of you guys here on the call with us have experienced that in your life? Because I know I have many times. And where we've tried something but we really didn't have the proper support to guide us through the trial and tribulation until we saw the result. Because that is the biggest difference between doing it accompanied by other people that are doing and living this, and again, borrowing that belief. When adversity came up for you, Shannon, you want to talk a little bit about your first fix and flip and the trials at closing?
Yeah. So I went under contract and I was so happy. And then I started working on calling lenders and getting term sheets to kind of compare each other. I think I had 3 or 4. And so I said, okay, I think I'm going to go with this lender. Most of them said I needed a partner. And so then that was another challenge that I wasn't expecting. All the meanwhile, I'm working on my credit, trying to raise it because the higher your credit is, the better your rate is, the better the terms are. So I think it was, okay, you need a partner. Okay, let's get a partner. Okay, I still need to raise capital. Okay, we're going to raise capital. Okay, so I'm having conversations with lots of people and putting together the 6 critical documents for a contractor. And then it was figuring out which contractor are we going to use? Are we going to use this one? Are we going to use this one? Okay. How do we feel about the walkthrough that happened? So it was a lot of moving pieces every day, and it was a lot of anxiety. And I don't think I slept very much, but I remember we were going to close, and I thought I had capital and a partner, but it didn't work out that way. And so I kind of had to figure that out last minute. And thank God Rose was like right there, and she was just so amazing. And she was like, yes, I will invest with you. I believe in you. And I was like so grateful for her. So yeah, that happened. And then the closing date kept getting pushed back, and it kept getting pushed back. And I don't know if it was normal or if it was just the particular lender that I went with, but I felt like I was talking to 10 different people at this one lender. And I'm like, is this normal? Do I have to talk to this many people and go through this many hoops? And it got extended. I was supposed to close April 1st. I didn't close until April 10th. And every day I was just having palpitations. I'm like, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if I'm going to close. I don't know if this is right. Is this supposed to happen? Is this the right deal for me? This is my first property. I don't know if this is supposed to be happening. So yeah, I was really struggling with, am I supposed to feel like this, or am I supposed to push through this? So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep pushing. And if I fall off the ledge, fall off the ledge, and I'll be fine. But at least I tried everything that I could possibly try. And yeah, we ended up closing, and it's just like, it's like a roller coaster I was not expecting.
Do you want to answer that question that you were battling with? Do I keep pushing? Do I give up? For our audience here that might find themselves, rather it is in a real estate deal or something in their life, particularly that you're having that battle. Do I keep going and giving my 100% until there's really no doors to open, or do I just say, you know what?
Yeah, I just kept pushing because I kept thinking about the bigger picture and what my vision is and what I want my future to look like. I have this path that I want to go down, that I'm headed towards, but I kept feeling like wrenches were getting thrown at me. If you're running a marathon and someone's throwing cups of water at you, it just felt like someone was trying to prevent me from getting to the finish line. And I'm like, I have to finish this. I have to see it through, no matter what happens. So yeah.
What do you see yourself, before we have a few more minutes, you want to share the total profit on your, if you're doing a fix and flip, what would the profit be on the fix and flip? If you're keeping it as a buy and hold for the fix and flip, what would the profit be on that one?
So for the fix and flip, when we first analyzed it, I think the profit was 88,000. And I think with selling it and the taxes and everything like that, it was a little bit less. And we were going conservative based on what the market. So we were thinking, okay, maybe at best 65,000 would be the profit. If we were to buy and hold it, it was around the same amount if I can get contract for deed or do seller financing. The cash flow itself, just as a buy and hold rental, isn't going to be nearly as much, but I could refinance and maybe pull out 30 something thousand. So we analyzed it 3 different ways. And to be honest, I had a couple conversations about it being a buy and hold and not a fix and flip. And the question was, why wouldn't you want to hold onto an asset if it's going to increase in value and the rents are only going to go up? And you could get a contract for deed and make money on the back end. And I was like, good question.
That's incredible. $80,000 with potential in 8 months worth of education, because it literally took you 30 days worth of implementation to get this deal on the contract, but it took preparation to get here. And with everything else that you have on the contract right now, what would you guesstimate a ballpark number that you would be closing? We're mid-year, let's say by the end of the year, what do you see yourself cashing in?
If I were to sell it?
If you keep it or if you sell it, profit-wise, from the deals that you have in the pipeline right now, by the end of the year, where do you see yourself?
Cash flow per month, you mean like how many properties I want to have? Mm-hmm. So I made, on every New Year's, I make a list of things I want for for the year, and I put down that I wanted between 4 and 6 properties.
Well, I mean,
So
we're there and it's May. So we gotta get back to that list.
I would love to cash flow. Maybe I think I'd be happy with 1,000, 1,500 a month if that was doable for my first year.
You're cutting yourself so short.
I'm being conservative.
We don't want to be. We want to be conservative when we analyze numbers. We don't want to be conservative with our goals and desires. Have limitless, delusional desires,
Yeah, I
but
don't know if I
be
want to be like
conservative
some
when we
folks.
analyze. This is incredible to witness your growth, not only spiritual, physical, financial, just you as a person for the past 8 months. It's been really incredible, Shannon. And I want to congratulate you for making the decision. A lot of people walk into rooms, join into Zoom meetings, receive that dopamine of possibility, and then allow their mindset and their belief to say, that might be for Shannon, but it can't be for me. And then we just turn back around and we don't take any action. And you took the action, and 8 months fast forward, and we're already at 6 deals on the contract, 2 lands, and a limitless amount of possibilities. So, guys, give it up for Shannon. Yeah, give it up for my girl. Celebrate you on so many different levels. And if you guys are here, guests, and you're asking yourself, all right, great, you're telling me about Shannon. She's a freaking rock star because she is on so many different levels. But how do I become either have 6 properties in the contract in less than 8 months or even 2 months? Whatever possibility that you want to create for yourself, it is possible. What we've built here, as I said at the beginning, we really are a community, a family that support one another to our growth. A lot of people are looking at education to change their life, but education is only a percentage of what a human being actually needs to make the difference and create that life. So you need education, you need support, and you need implementation. With one of those pieces missing outside of your life, you will find yourself having hurdles that your own perspective and your own limited beliefs are not going to be able to walk through it. And that's when we give up on ourselves. I tell our mastermind members all the time, you will give up on you before I ever give up on you. And when you give up on you, just give me a call, because talk to me for 5 minutes and you're not going to give up on you. And it's the same thing with Chris. It's the same exact way with James. And not only us as leaders, but literally every single one of our members. That's what we've built for ourselves and amongst each other. So if you want any more, if you want more information, if you're ready to change your life and say, what you guys got, I want a piece of it, I'm inviting my partner, James, to come out and show us a little bit of what the next steps for you might look like if you are ready to say, okay, I am done with what I'm doing right now and I want more.
Awesome. Another loved you, Shannon. You are amazing. And also, you're just following the leader. And when everybody's going out there and saying that, you know what, I really want to be next. So a lot of people in the world compare. But when you see somebody already being successful, you got to say, I'm next. Who's next? I'm next. And so next is you making the decision to say, hey, I want some knowledge. And then I want some support. So what we've done is we've created a challenge for you, And you're thinking about, oh my gosh, okay, here's the sales pitch. The challenge is $97. It's less than a couple cups of coffee. So underneath the recording, this will be the recording. Underneath the recording, you'll get a text and it'll say, hey, jump in to the challenge. Now, the first thing, if you're watching and you're like, okay, I'm not ready yet to get into the challenge, but I want to stay connected. Underneath here is there's no thanks. Let's just register for the next meeting. And the next meeting will come up and you'll register for the next meeting. And you'll hear next week from Keith Cardinal, who has now taken down 4 duplexes, and the appraisal just came in 220, but he got them at 85,000. And in turn got about $32,000 rehab. So he's going to make about 40 grand per over 40 grand per property minus expenses and cash flow about $1,000. He's going to be one of our speakers next week. And he's going to, so if you're want to hear his story, then jump into one of our next meetings. We'll be on Monday, Thursday, but we don't know if it's going to be Monday or Thursday. I haven't got that confirmation, but that's going to be it. So after that, once you jump in and say, "Hey, I'm ready," so you click the button, you're and you put your number, put your name in, and that'll bring you to the $97 enrollment page. Once you're in the enrollment, you get access to the members area. Inside the members area, this is when you get to start your education. And you start here, and in the education start here, you're going to start the process of what we call the 11 steps. When you click the button to get started, it will open up and give you access to all the forms you need. You're probably only going to use 2 or 3 of these going through the challenge, but we inside of it want to give you more in value than what you're paying for. So all those you're going to download into your computer, and there's a couple of them, the fix and flip form, the buy and hold form. You're going to do those. Also the needs analysis. We're going to be reviewing those through the 11 steps, finding the money, setting up the entity, defining your criteria, building your team, finding, analyzing deals, making offers, and due diligence, closing the deal. And you're going, you get all of that? Yes. But here's the best part. Once a month, we do a challenge and we do a live event between Narcissus, myself, and Chris, and we go through the 5 areas. So, changing your identity, doing money. So, this is day 1 of the challenge. Day 2 is entity and structuring. So, we're taking the education and actually doing implementation with us. And so this is the power of having a mastermind. And then day 3 is building the teams, day 4, analyzing deals, and day 5 is you are under contract. So Shannon just got done going through the challenge, bam, and she got in contract and closed. And she gives her testimonial around day 4. I was like, yeah, wait till day 5. So this was awesome. It was an experience. And then day 5, we like, hey, if you want more support, we're going to give you an offer. And the offer is to number 1, jump in. We're going to help you get the capital to get started. And then if you're ready to go, you'll jump into our mastermind. And then one of the benefits of being in our mastermind is once you're in the mastermind, you'll notice that you went through a process. So if you're interested in making 100% profit, that $97 and the mastermind, which means one referral, you get all your money back and you would actually pay for the entire mastermind. But what we did, me, Chris, and Narcissus, we came together and said, hey, we want to help other people expand. So we created an option for you guys as a business, and you'll get that on day 5. So I'm going to leave it right there because it's not for everybody. The business of going full time as a real estate investor is you need active income, which is wholesaling or fix and flip, maybe the referral side. That's what I do. It's like Robert Kiyosaki. He sells books and tapes and does coaching programs. So he gets the money and then he takes his money and puts it into his buy and hold real estate. So buy and hold real estate is passive income. And you notice that during the testimonial, you can make money fixing and flipping into buy and hold, which is one of the strategies of doing it. So that is our offer to you. So go ahead and pick one of the things that when you get the text and you want to jump in, either, hey, timing's right, you want to get in the challenge, great. And by the way, get prepared for our next live event. So the recordings are there, but coming up in June, you'll get the live event for 5 days. We're going to be doing another live one, but you don't have to wait until the live one. You can jump in, start going through the education and the challenge, and you may even be in a deal after those 5 days of the challenge. I promise you, if you do the work, you'll be like, oh, I got an offer. And you'll be just like, Shannon, I'm scared. We know that's going to happen. Okay. That's why we give you everything, because the fact that we know when you're in that deal, you're going to be like, I am Chris and Narcissus and Shannon and our whole entire community. We understand that's exactly what's going to happen. So we were like, we'll give you everything because we know without that support system that those 8 days are going to be the longest 8, 10, 12, 15 days you've ever lived in your entire life. And you're going to want a community to plug into.
And I want to leave you guys with this. The education once you join the challenge, you will receive the education, which is in our back office. But the challenge is something that it's not like anything else that you've found out there, because we no longer focus on the education, we focus on the implementation of the education. So if you really are ready and you are deciding today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, 15 years down the road, it is your choice when you decide to change your life. But when you make that decision, inside of our challenge, we are moving into implementation of the education every single day. So you can get to Friday with a house under contract. And it's been proven system for so many of our students has done it, and it's working over and over again. So if you really are ready and say, and I love my life now, or I might not love my life now, but I want more, we had opened the door for you guys. If you feel called to become part of our community, if you feel called to become part of our family, we're here. We're here every single day, Monday and Thursday, free for our community. This is a free call for you guys. It's our way of serving back every single person that wants to come and receive knowledge. If you want more than just this, if you're really ready to take the next option, is the challenge. And I say all the time, people look at sales and I don't like the salesperson. And I was one of those. I'm like, I hate sales. It's those people that knock on your door and call you. Until I changed my mindset on what sales looks like. We could look at sales and say, this salesperson, it's annoying me to death. Or we could look at the sales and say, this person is serving me something that without what they're offering, my life might not look like the way it could if I decide to take their service. Whatever that is, a vacuum that you're going to vacuum your house with, a challenge that you're going to get into real estate, financial education, whatever that service is, you are being served in the process of deciding that you want to buy. The sale process is a way of serving one another. So I want to thank you again for joining us, being here with us for the past hour and 12 minutes. I promised my kids I was going to be done at 7:59 to put them to bed, and I'm 13 minutes late. So
Shannon,
I love you guys.
yeah, Shannon, come out and say goodbye to everybody because you were the superstar and you were the leader of this. So go ahead and just acknowledge everybody and wish them good times.
No, I'm just so grateful that this group exists and that I had made the decision to join it. I haven't looked back and I'm only looking forward, and I love seeing them every day. So I'm glad that everybody's here tonight, and hopefully we see you in the future.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Love you all. Have a blessed day.